Hello and welcome to Angela's Busy Bees Garden and Homestead. Guys, I'm in the home garden and what I am doing today is I'm taking advantage of all prime real estate in the garden. And as you can see here, guys, in this wheelbarrow, these are the caps that were sitting on top of my cinder blocks. And I used those blocks to help cover my vegetables when we were expecting snow. And I had to cover all of my fall vegetables that I planted because, of course, the snow was coming and it was going to be some freezing temperatures. And so I didn't have anything really to hold them down other than these caps that you see here around the bed. And so what I've done is when I removed the caps to use it to hold down the plastic that was covering my raised beds, I realized that this was potential space that I could be using for the garden. And so as you can see here, guys, I have filled each of the cinder blocks with soil and I have transplanted some mustard greens in it. Now, the reason why I left the blocks back here is because, of course, when I am in the raised bed harvesting or weeding or doing whatever, I'm not able to reach the back. And I want to keep that part continue to be covered to keep grass and weeds from growing in it. And so, guys, basically I have transplanted my red giant mustard greens, and also I've transplanted my regular mustard greens into the cells of each of these cinder blocks. And I believe I skipped this one right here because I want to put some marigolds in there. And then as I look at my raised bed, guys, I see all sorts of space that I can use to include other companion plants or other vegetables that complement what I'm growing. And as you can see here, this is my bed of collards. I harvested just this past weekend, and here it is a week later, and it looks like I am able to harvest again. So I am really pleased because it seems the more I harvest, the more these tend to grow. And guys, I have done the same thing over here. I have placed mustard greens in all of the cells of the cinder blocks here and also over here. And these were the mustard green transplants that came out of this container right here. Guys, when you direct sow things like mustard greens, turnips, what have you, because the seeds are so small, you really are planting more than you want. And what happens is your vegetables don't really get to its mature size because it's so crowded. So I am taking the mustard greens out of here and finding places in the garden where they can continue to grow. And I know that kale, collards, mustard greens, and things of that nature can grow in the cinder blocks because I've done it with the kale. And I've harvested multiple times from the kale, and they have done absolutely well. And guys, would you look over here? If this is not the most beautiful thing in spring, absolutely beautiful. The daffodils have sprouted and are blooming, so I am really excited. It just makes me want to be in the garden, and today happens to be such a beautiful day. And so while I'm out here, guys, I also noticed that in the bed here with the Brussels sprouts, there was several empty spaces. And so previously this has been a potato bed, and I know that I never get all of the potatoes out. So I know that there will be some sprouts of potatoes I'm most certain will come back up in this bed. So what I did is, because there was so much space around these Brussels sprouts, I went on and I dug 6 holes in which I'm going to plant my seed potatoes. And these are potatoes that I purchased from the Tractor Supply. And it is the late summer seed potato, Russet Narcata. And It comes with a lot of potatoes in it. Some of them are large, and I'm going to have to cut them in half so that I can grow more potatoes. But I have already picked out 6 of them, and I've gone on and I've dug my hole in the raised bed. I've added some bone meal, and I've added this fertilizer here. This is something that I got from Walmart at the end of the season. I think it was like $1.25. Let me see if I can turn it around and show it to you. It's by Miracle-Gro, and it's food for all plants and flowers. And so because that's what I had on hand, that's what I'm going to use. And of course, the bone meal is this one here. And it is good for bulbs, roses, flowers, and it's a great source of phosphorus. But there's also a little nitrogen in it. As you can see, it's a 2-17-0. That's nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So because these potatoes are considered bulbs, they require a boost of phosphorus. And so I've already gone on, made my hole, put in my bone meal. So I am going to put this potato as far in as I can. I'm going to do that for each of these holes here. It has the bone meal as well as the fertilizer. I want to make sure that the eyes are facing up, and just cover that over. While I'm at it, I'll just throw these weeds away. And as they grow, if there's room to add more soil, I'll do that as well. Like I said, I want to make sure that the eyes are facing up. And so my potatoes have been planted. I'm going to plant some more in another raised bed. But a lot, like I've stated, some of these are going to have to be cut because they're really large. And I'm thinking I can get more by cutting some of these in half. But I'll take you into the other bed and show you where I'm planting the other potatoes. Before I go into the other garden, I just wanted to share with you that I have done the same thing around my bed of blueberries. I have used the cinder blocks to grow more of the mustard greens. And then also on this side, guys, I've done the same thing. Now these containers that I have all of these seedlings, of course I won't be able to use them all, but I am going to take out as many as I can. But these containers are going to be used to grow tomatoes this coming spring and summer. Okay, let's go to the other garden. Okay, let's go inside the market garden. And guys, I've cleaned this tray out. This is one of those cement trays that I'm using as a container for planting. This year I'm going to plant beets in it. But as you can see, guys, the onions are doing really well. That snow that we had didn't bother it at all. And as you can see here, I have transplanted my bok choy in the cells of the cinder blocks. And in every other one, I have spinach. And I did that on both sides of the raised bed. And as I've stated, I'm taking advantage of all real estate here in the garden. And over here, guys, I have a bed of cabbage. But as you can see, I've used up the space to put more of the mustard green transplants, and then also in the cells as well. And it's looking a little limp because it was just transplanted and I just gave it a little water, so it's leaning over now, but I'm expecting it to perk back up. It looks like it's having a little bit of transplant shock. I also added some mustard greens to 2 of these containers, and in the ones where you don't see anything, I plan to put some flowers in there. And guys, as I was handling this container, I accidentally broke it, and I wish that Dollar Tree would sell these again because I really love the size of these containers. And then over here, guys, this is where I typically plant potatoes, and I have gone around and I've put mustard greens in each of the cells of the cinder blocks. I didn't do the back because, again, I'm going to use those caps to cover where I'm unable to reach. But as you can see also in the bed, I had some extra transplants from fall in which I had a couple of cabbage and broccoli transplants. And so because I needed a place to put them, I put them in this bed. But from what I have read, potatoes are good complements to your brassicas. And so what I have done is I've gone on and created holes. I've added my bone meal and a little fertilizer, and I have gone on and added the potatoes to the holes. So all I have to do now is just cover them over. And then in this bed, I had collards and broccoli. And as you can see, the broccoli is forming a head. And I'm going to watch these very carefully because if I see them start to look like they're about to open up to flower, I'm going to go on and take them even though that they're small. But also in between the collards and the broccoli, I'm going to plant some red potatoes in this raised bed. And then also I'll be adding soil into the cells of these cinder blocks, and I will place my spinach transplants in here, and I may skip every other one because they typically get a little wide. And then over here is a bed of cabbage and collards, and you see also that I don't have anything in the cells either here. So I'll add some more spinach or whatever other transplants that I have that I can use to place in this area. But also, guys, what I want to share with you is that my tulips have started coming back up in this container. And then I notice also over here, they started coming back as well. Can't wait for them to come up. I really love tulips. I also planted tulips in this container last year, but it looks like something's been digging around in here. So I'm not sure if it's going to come up or not, but trust me, if it doesn't come up, it's the squirrels. But this is how things are looking so far in this garden area. I've got red onions and also yellow onions in this bed. And in the cells of the cinder blocks, there's bok choy and spinach. I checked the weather for our area, And it looks like tonight the temperatures are going to drop to about 30. But the spinach, the bok choy, all of those will be fine. The brassicas will be fine. The potatoes, because it's going to take them a while before they surface to the top of the soil, they should be fine. But for the rest of the week, on to the next 10 days, it looks like we're going to be in the 50s and 60s and in the 40s or upper 30s at night. So I think we are good with what I've planted. And of course, I'm still planting more things. I need to plant some seeds for celery, and I'll probably direct sow my beet seeds. And I'm going to plant some red potatoes and probably wait until maybe mid-March to transplant some other things, such as my cabbage, kale, and collards that I have growing maybe around the 10th or the 15th, somewhere in there of March. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you all are safe and well and that you've enjoyed watching my video. It's been a great day for me in the garden. And if you're new to my channel, I hope that you would consider subscribing. And if you subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified of future videos. Okay, thank you so much, guys. God bless. Bye-bye.